While we understand why an organization might wish to align itself with the Guardian's trusted brand, we need to ensure it's being used appropriately.
No. That's not okay, The Guardian. Okay, that's not. No. What she did is absolutely abysmal. It literally erodes the trust that people have in certain organizations. All right, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is Harris Camp Under Fire for Manipulating News Headlines. Let's jump into this immediately.
A brand new Axios report revealing that the Harris campaign has been editing news headlines to make her look good. Now, we're told that the media outlets whose headlines have been butchered, basically changed, had no knowledge that this was going to happen or that it's been happening. This graphic from Axios shows great headlines for Harris within Google search ads. So when you Google, the fake stuff comes up instead of the actual headlines from outlets like the Associated Press, Reuters, and CBS News. However, these search results were purchased by the Harris campaign. So you got to look for the little sticker that says sponsored. They link to real articles, but the campaign manipulated the headlines and descriptions to glow up Kamala. A source familiar with the Harris team is telling Axios that the campaign buys search ads with news links to give voters, quote, more context. The report also points out the Trump campaign is not running these types of ads. Kellyanne, we call it blow up.
1 second, guys.
Types of ads.
Okay. Currently, they're not running these type of ads, but this technique has been used by campaigns before. So it's not a specifically like an odd thing to encounter. But let's see how this unfolds, though.
Kellyanne,
it's
we call
weird.
it blow up, embellishment,
like
whatever you want to call it.
Keep it real.
The media outlets say they didn't know.
Maybe, but either way, it's deceptive and gaslighting. The real point here for the viewers to appreciate is that the Harris campaign thinks they can get away with redoing media headlines and that the media won't mind. They treat the mainstream media, Harris, like a wholly owned subsidiary of the Harris-Walz campaign. They don't pursue them any more than they pursue loyal, Democratic, liberal voters. Why would you spend a dime chasing them? You've already got them. And that's the way they're treating the media, whether it's refusing to sit down for any kind of interviews, taking any kind of easy or hard question while she's under wing on the plane or just taking to the podium. But this is manipulation of the American mind. Most of the headlines already favor her. Time magazine just put her on the cover, and the most important piece of the entire cover story about Kamala Harris, quote, her movement, redefining Kamala Harris is, quote, the Kamala Harris campaign refused to make her available for an interview. She's not participating in glowing profiles about her. So this was the next stage in that repertoire, which is take a headline, manipulate it, and make it look like it's news, not opinion. Make it look like it's facts and figures, not a run-of-the-mill paid political ad. If I were those outlets, I would do one thing. We are no longer going to cover your rallies, your speeches, nothing, your schedule, until you sit down for an interview.
There you go.
See, the issue with the statement that she just made is a very interesting one. Most of the news, like specifically the mainstream media, including this network here, right? It's all opinion. It's not fact at all, right? I mean, like there are bits and pieces of fact, and then conversations are made where opinions are made basically over it, right? This one, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, all of these channels, guys, are all basically opinions. They have the small little bit of fact, but it's mostly just opinions. Definitely do agree here, though, guys. If you are, in fact, purchasing ads while changing headlines to ads, that's a little cringy, guys. That's trickery, and you are definitely attempting to fool the unknowing, specifically American population, and that's not a great thing, specifically if you're running for a president.
Your rallies, your speeches, nothing. Your schedule until you sit down for an interview.
There you go.
You apologize for this, you take them down, and you put out a public statement. Her first interview should just be a public statement straight to camera. We screwed up. This is, I don't know if it's illegal, but it certainly is unethical.
Yeah, so it does.
It's not illegal.
It doesn't break with Google's search engine platform, just so you know, because it says that you can clearly see the sponsored ad, marking on the page that they've messed with. So that's supposed to do it. But we know how quickly people are scrolling and clicking, Emily, I said on the Focus, I don't know if that's enough to get people's attention. I mean, if it's fake,
it's not.
You ought to mark it fake or misinformation. Remember how they went after people who had simple questions about COVID? And I was one of them. You get marked, you get stickered. You got to make it bold.
Yes, you must be reading my mind, because that's exactly what I was thinking. How the delicacy, the subtlety of the sponsored tag here is in such stark contrast to the blatant removals of posts where people dare to ask questions. In fact, it's still going on with people who aren't even asking questions. They're saying something unrelated. They've mentioned something that in the big constellation could be tied back to a topic or a point that the humans behind the algorithms deemed unacceptable to them. That's why it's removed. So
that's a strong statement, because that's absolutely factual. Guys, I can say right now, I'm not going to say it, right? But I can say a couple of words right now, and the AI bot that basically transcribes it will literally flag the video. It'll say, it'll be a flag underneath the video, basically, right? But I'm not going to say any of the words, but I know all of them. I know all the ones to say. And these definitely should be flagged bigger, so more people can actually see exactly what is actually happening, because you can't see that.
So everyday average Americans, veterans, active duty military, people in law enforcement, people who and wiped away, and yet here, blatant manipulation. Could you imagine if Donald Trump had done this with his campaign? Could you imagine if there was even one slight purchase of an ad with a then rewriting of the headline, the uproar that we would be subjected to? And here, you're right. Not only do they know they can get away with it with the media, but they know that they can get away with it with the liberal voters, and that is the saddest part.
Doctor?
I want to put my attention on something different, which is, what is news to begin with? They're outraged now because this is being made into ads. What exactly is news? I remember the first op-ed I ever wrote for the New York Times, and I've written for many papers around the country, as you know. And I tried to criticize something that was on the front page, and they said, no, doctor, op-ed means the page across from editorial, not that you can disagree with anybody. So that's now devolved into a situation where newspapers are pundits, essentially, where they come out rooting for somebody. And that entire left-wing media is rooting for Harris, and that is what Trump is against.
When they're complicit, then, to Kellyanne.
Then by that same statement, then the entire right-wing media is for Trump. That's not very logical, sir. That's just the reality here, guys. It's not very logical what he's saying here. I was rooting for you, bro. So I was hoping you can come up with some solid logic here. But yeah, the left wing media is all for Harris and Walz, and the right wing media is specifically all for Trump and Vance. Right.
That's the point. I mean, they're taken for granted. So when these media outlets don't come out and say, look, we didn't know, and they have talked to Fox News Digital and said they didn't know that this was happening or that it had happening, well, where is that next line, what Kellyanne was talking about, in terms of it's not acceptable? And we don't want to give you any more coverage until we have access to the candidate. Where is that part? Because that must be oppositional, like you were when you wanted to, disagree with something on the front page.
They're not. He doth protest too much. I mean, they're protesting, but Mike, right? Your point is exactly right. They're not protesting enough. But the second point is, what are these headlines to begin with that are being used to be distorted in this situation?
Well, they're all glowing.
They're all glowing, and they shouldn't write headlines that somebody can even use in a campaign ad.
Yeah, look, Axios said this makes it appear like media outlets are on the side of Kamala Harris. They are on the side of Kamala Harris. All you have to do is go and read the homepages of CNN, NBC, so on and so forth.
Right.
This has happened to a dozen outlets.
But again, you are also look at your. Look at this. What are you talking about?
Since August 3rd. So these are the outlets it's happened to. The Independent UK, NPR, AP, The Guardian, USA Today, PBS, CNN, CBS News, Time Magazine. Their statements in reaction have been mild. The only one I could find was the one from The Guardian that put together a few sentences about this. The Guardian, and I just was laughing as I read this. While we understand why an organization might wish to align itself with The Guardian's trusted brand, we need to ensure it's being used appropriately.
No. That's not okay, The Guardian. Okay, that's not. No. What she did is absolutely abysmal. It literally erodes the trust that people have in certain organizations. No. This is absolutely not an adequate response. You're basically loaning your brand over to someone that has the ability to alter something that doesn't even work for your brand. that tells me specifically that you're completely fine rooting for her, basically. That's it. Right? You're completely fine with that.
The Guardian's trusted brand yesterday put out an opinion piece by an ex-Twitter executive suggesting that Elon Musk should be arrested for hosting Donald Trump. So that's the Guardian's trusted brand, right? You want to be a trusted brand? All 12 of these outlets should come together in outrage and issue a joint statement saying this is unhealthy for democracy, it's unhealthy for journalism, it's unhealthy for the media. Anything short of that is complicity in Kamala Harris's attempt to deceive America. They're the liberal media, folks. If you needed more proof, just look at the Axios.
Why aren't they doctoring headlines that say Kamala's been great as the borders are?
Because it's not enough.
Inflation's way down. She's going to get us out of Ukraine and Israel. Well, it's also not true.
Because those unearthed videos keep floating to the top of the feed when you search.
And we all know there's only one Harris around here that we trust. Tell us the truth. But Harris, seriously speaking, I think that these headlines being doctored is the same sign of the times as of Kamala Harris as the candidate in the first place. Just make them whatever you need them to be. Everything is just existential and equivalent. Whatever you need that to be, whatever I need her to be, I'm just going to slap on her regardless of her record and her attributes and her skills. And the same thing with these headlines. Whatever you need them to be, it's fine. Nobody will notice.
I find it hard to believe that, first of all, The Guardian had an op-ed, and they can have that, but not to push back when your own words are manipulated just seems more than complicit. It's weak. And I do question the idea, are they just trying to ingratiate themselves by not being too difficult in this moment so they can get a sit down with Kamala?
Yes. Well played. Well, actually super well played. That seems like that's it exactly. Right? They are definitely hoping, they've already decided who they want to basically promote. They've already decided that. And so, yeah, they definitely are basically vining for some type of sit-down meeting.
I think they think we're stupid.
Yep.
Oh, gosh. Let's hope that's not it.
Hey, everyone.
All right, guys. Ooh, manipulating news headlines. Yeah, guys, I am going to tell you this right now, again, just for the people who skip to the end. I definitely do not agree with the concept of eroding the trust that people have in some of these organizations that spew opinions disguised as news, guys. All right. I definitely would never back that. Okay. We do need to find or create some type of system that can kind of weed through the opinions and get to the straight facts, guys. Right. And also, just like how on social media, like if you do say something or type something, these flags pop up occasionally, specifically if it's against the common thought at the time, right? There needs to be flags on every single video on YouTube or on the internet, anywhere on the internet, guys, specifically saying the exact bias that's associated, because a lot of the things that the people sitting down ended up accusing Harris of, they're doing the same thing at their organization. So it's a little interesting, right? But again, this is just my specific personal opinion. I don't consider myself right. I don't consider myself left. I look at logic and try to see what makes sense, guys, right? But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.